Greetings, Pasadenans. It is I, your friendly neighborhood Rabbi John Carrier, and I am here to welcome you to day number 9 of the Omer. That's this many. I'm running out of fingers here. I'm so impressed with your persistence. Just 40 days to go after this. But you got this. We're like almost 20% there. That reminds me, this week we're talking about Gevurah, or might, which is also considered in the Kabbalistic cosmology as the attribute of judgment. Yesterday, I asked you to come up with your own definition of Gevurah based on your learning and experience. Today, I want to tell you my favorite story about Gevurah from our tradition. And that's actually a rather famous story about Shlomo HaMelech, or King Solomon. King Solomon was famously one of the wisest kings and even wisest people in all of history, and he asked for it. In fact, when he became king, God said, "Hey, Solomon, I want to do you a solid. Name what you want from me. How can I help you be successful as a king?" And Solomon said, "I would like wisdom. I would like this ability to judge." And God was like, "I'm impressed." Because you could have said, "I would like to be super rich," or "I would like to have a strong army or a big castle or lots of fame." I don't know. But because you asked for wisdom, I'm going to give you some wisdom. Fun fact, when you have wisdom, you can get wealth and fame and have successful armies. So you hit the jackpot, pal. And right as soon as they're done telling that story, they give this great example of Solomon's wisdom, or his judgment. He's sitting there deciding matters among his people, and these two women come to him, and they have had a horrible, horrible thing happen. These are two very poor, very desperate women, both of whom have just had a child. These are essentially two single mothers of newborns sharing the same shack. Because they didn't have fancy cribs or nursemaids or anything like that, they had their babies sleeping with them. And in the night, accidentally, one of the babies was suffocated. And the woman of the two who lost her child was driven just so insane by grief that she claimed that the other child was her own. And the woman whose child it actually was not willing to give the baby up. And so they took this matter before King Solomon, and Solomon listened to both of them, had compassion, I'm going to say chesed, for both of them, but he had to pass judgment on this situation. And his judgment was this: you want a baby? You want a baby. Why don't we just cut the baby in half and you can each have a piece? Sounds gruesome, but hear me out. One woman said, "You know what? I'm fine with that." The other woman said, "Tell you what, you're right. It is your baby." And Solomon looked out of the crowd and said, "Aha," because he knew that for the woman who lost her child, nothing would make her happy and nothing could possibly make her sadder. So she would accept his judgment. On the other hand, the woman whose child this was would give anything so that he may survive. And given this horrible situation, he made a judgment, not that he expected to be carried out, but that he knew would cause the truth and justice to reveal itself. And that's an example of the kind of judgment that I think is embodied in the attribute of Gevurah. Sometimes when we think about judgment, it has these connotations of cruelty or lack of compassion, just making a simple decision in a complicated case. All the more so, a complicated case requires good judgment for compassion to reveal itself. That's why this is my favorite story about Gevurah. I'd love to hear your favorite story about Gevurah or judgment, whether it's a story from our tradition, whether it's, I don't know, from Mark Twain or something, or maybe something that happened in your own life. Please share that with us in the Facebook group we've got going, or in the YouTube comments. If you're seeing this on YouTube, you can email me back if you want to just keep it between us, or write it down in your journal so you can look back at it later. Don't forget to count day number 9 starting at sundown tonight. And until day 10, that's all my fingers. Peace.